That okay, perfect. So we're John and Janae Prather, proudly launched by the amazing founders Emeralds going Diamond,
Devon.
Devang and Arti Advaryu, and then founders Diamonds going EDC, Vishal and Sonika Jain. So we're excited. I want to do something a little bit different with everybody. So we have a couple of notes, a couple of things that we're going to jump into. But first, what I want to do is I want to make this interactive for some of the newer partners on the call. So obviously, I know Ramadan just introduced himself, but if you guys could, for everybody who is still in their first contract year, so less than a year in business, if you guys could just raise your virtual hands um, for me. Okay, I see Nana, and I mean, obviously we know who you guys are. So if you guys could raise your virtual hand, just want to bring you guys up here real quick. So I'll start off, I guess, with you two. See Belkis. I know I thought I saw, is it Shirai? There's Gabe. Okay. Nah, Sheree. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. So I know there's a few more. So introduce yourselves, or not introduce yourselves, but raise your virtual hand. So for you guys, I'm gonna give you guys the ability to unmute. So I just want to know, one, you guys can introduce yourselves. So we can start with Nana since you're the first one on the screen. But the question that I want to ask you guys is if you guys could share, what's one or two things that you want to learn from tonight's training? The top two things that are on your mind in business, maybe not struggling with, but just something that you want to learn that would make this training helpful for you. So I'm putting you on the spot, Nana, but if you can introduce yourself and ask your like say what you want, and then just the rest of you guys can go.
Yeah, of course. So, hello everyone. My name is Nana. Once again, launched by John and Janae Prather, Upline Emeralds, Devong and RT Adaryu with the Founder Diamonds, Vishal and Sonika Jain. And one or two things I wish to take from this training tonight is how do you deal with inconsistency, or how do you deal when you reach that block of inconsistency with your business? 'Cause I feel like a lot of times people, we don't acknowledge the fact that we tend to like burn ourselves out. So like how do you deal with when you have reached that burnout stage and then refine your motivation to continue to push on? Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Great. Awesome. Maddie?
Hello, my name is Maddie. I was personally launched by John and Janae, uplines Devang and RT all the way up to Vishal and Seneca. I would say just based off of the huddle call that we had yesterday, I guess would be building confidence in, doing your own MG1s. And I guess just also facing rejection too. Just kind of how to, again, kind of like Nana said, kind of like keeping that consistency. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Great. Belkis?
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Belkis Lagos Tovar, and I think for me it would be similar to Maddie and Nana. Like, how can I keep the motivation going? How can I get, I guess, the motivation, and also like help my customers get motivated as well? Like how I am. Like, I love the products, but I want them to feel what we feel by using them. So what can I do to better get their attention? How can I get them to like be like, yes, I want to buy this from you. This is like great.
Hmm.
Good.
Very good question. Okay.
Awesome.
Can definitely touch on that. Thank you.
Gabe? There you go.
All right, my connection's very bad. I'm in the middle of a storm and I keep losing power. But I was launched by Vishal and Sonika, and what I want to take from this training, well, rather learn from it, is kind of like Nana said, learn how to deal with inconsistencies. And what do you do, I guess, when you have like an imbalance of your free time? Like it varies. I have a very busy job schedule that sometimes I work till 8 p.m. and sometimes I get out early, like 3 p.m. But then I have to catch up on all the things that I didn't do on the days I worked until 8. So, I mean, how do you better manage your time in this business?
Perfect. Manage your time. Okay. Sweet.
Sheree?
Good evening, everyone. Sheree Jones coming from Durham, North Carolina. My sponsor is Sean Price. My upline is Paramish Bartik Naval, all the way up to Vishal and Sonica Jane. Everybody pretty much took everything that I was going to say, but I have one. How and when do you drop the message when using social media? Example, LinkedIn. Because I understand that, that conversation takes a little bit longer to make the connection, but how and when, like when would be a good time frame to drop that message?
Okay, fantastic. Can definitely
Thank
cover
you.
that. How about you, Litzy?
Let's see. Last but not least.
Hello, everyone. I was launched by Raneem. Upline is Diddy, David, and Maggie, all the way up to Vishal and Sonika Jane. Something I would like to learn is what they mentioned before too is like time management. I would like to know like how would I manage my time with personal life and this business as well as my job, and also being a college student, and I'm also a college athlete. So training is a big part of that. Also, I would love to learn how to be confident in yourself. Like, don't shy away from opportunities and just tell yourself you're going to do good today. You're going to be excellent and you're going to pursue.
Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. Question for you. What sport do you play?
Cross country, it's a running sport.
Oh, okay. Okay. You are much better than me. I hated running. But I played football, so I was wondering. But fantastic, fantastic. But cross country is way cross country. My goodness, running across the country. But okay, thank you guys so much for sharing that. I think that'll definitely help. I did not have that as a part of my notes, so I'm just going to try to weave in all the answers to those questions. But I just wanted to get you guys to share a little bit, just hear kind of where your mindset is at. I kind of got a couple of themes of consistency, confidence, motivation. I know obviously dropping the message on LinkedIn was one, time management, things like that. I think that kind of is that kind of a fair assessment. I think those were kind of the main ones. Customers a little bit, so we can definitely kind of touch on those. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. And if you guys, anybody else who's not first year wants to put in the chat some things you want to learn, or if anything pops into your head, again, feel free. We'll definitely keep an eye on the chat. But I appreciate you guys for sharing. Let me see if I can remove all the spotlights. Yeah, and then we can come back up. Perfect, perfect. So yeah, so we can definitely touch on that. I'm gonna kind of weave it in. I don't want to just directly answer them. I mean, a couple of them I can. I mean, the biggest thing I would mention, just to kind of start off with that, and then we can kind of go into our training. The specific ones like dropping the message for Sheree, kind of how to continue the customers. I know Belkis also had that question as well. Those we'll kind of cover as we go through. But the overarching ones, I would say motivation, confidence, and being consistent. That theme of wanting to learn is normal. So the first thing I would say is that it's normal to kind of be going through those. I know some people call it like that imposter syndrome. Not exactly the same thing, but kind of in that same ballpark. Is you're new to business. A lot of you guys, I'm sure, have never started a business before. So the biggest thing that I would say is to continue to develop and that confidence and consistency is to just keep communication with your upline as much as possible. Because the more that you can connect with them, this business is built on the pull. We can't push you to do something that you don't want to do. It's like if you have a string. I don't know. I don't have a string, and neither of us are wearing shoes. But it's like if you have it's like this wire is a good example. So like we can't push you to do what you want to do because the wire is just going to bend and you're not going to move. But if we pull, then we can help you guys and you guys can move forward. So the way that pull can become stronger is the closer of a relationship you have with your upline. So whether that's your upline guy, girl, whoever, that's going to help a lot because they're going to be able to speak life into you. Because nobody's good at this business right when you get in. Some people can get success faster than others, but to know what to do, how to develop an organization and keep it growing, it takes time to learn those things. So aside from all of the other things that you have to do, the biggest thing I would say is keep that relationship and communication with your upline, and focus on your why. what are you building the business for? It's probably going to change over the first couple of months. Like you might just get in to make some money, but then when you realize that there's so much more to this business than money, keeping that at the front of your, I guess, at the front of mind will, as you go through some of those troubles and those challenges, it'll keep you motivated to move forward. But I mean, I guess on the topic specifically of the motivation and confidence, how did you overcome that?
Yeah. I mean, something that I want to add is not only do you want to be, in good communication and just, hip to hip with your coaches, your mentors and things like that, but you want to just be like in the system, like in the BWW circle. So you want to be associated and be a part of the meetings, as much as you can. I know some people have crazy schedules and things like that. So of course, communicate with your upline and communicate and just be upfront and accountable. But also when you can be there, because that also helps with your confidence and just seeing other people grow or seeing how you can kind of take bits and pieces of other people's experiences or just things that they share and things that you can learn from them. It'll help with your confidence because you see the relatability. A lot of the people on our team are students, or maybe they are just out of college, or maybe they've been working for a long time, or maybe not that long, but you kind of can find some people who you can relate to and kind of hear their story and figure out how they, or just listen to the things that they say, and you'll figure out how they're able to keep going. But something that kind of helped me was definitely being in the system and reading. I guess I can talk a little bit about who was it that mentioned, oh, I think it was Litzy. Litzy, you were talking just about like confidence and just that good positive self-talk to yourself. That was something that I struggled with in the beginning, especially as a new business owner. I was not a business owner prior to this, so I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have the confidence. I actually had a lot of the same questions that most of you have, like, how am I going to have time for this? How am I going to even build something for myself when I'm still struggling in certain areas personally? But when I was in the system and I spoke to my coaches and mentors, Devang and RT, John, Vishal, Sonika, they recommended books and audios to listen to read. Reading, especially as a leisurely thing, it's not everyone's thing. We read all the time in school, so it's like, and you don't really want to read. But when you read books that are there to kind of help you grow as a person. Like the book What to Say When You Talk to Yourself was my favorite book in the beginning because it taught me what to say to myself so that I don't feel discouraged, so that I can feel empowered and I can feel like anything that I was saying to myself was a positive thought. And I would write it on my mirrors with Expo. So just taking little things like that and just incorporating it into your life so that it becomes a lifestyle, becomes a habit, and you start to gain that confidence in yourself. That was just one thing that I wanted to mention. That can be for anyone. Reading certain books or even listening to the audios in the BWW system. Those things help you to kind of latch onto someone who has been where you are, and has gone through a struggle, but how do they get out of it? I think Maddie, you talked about like rejection or different things like that. Like there are audios in our system that talk about these exact things, motivation and things like that, to help you kind of see that you can get out of those trenches as well. And you have to go through it with your mentor and your coaches, but you'll get through it, and there's a light on the other side of that tunnel. So
yeah, absolutely. And even on that same topic, I think one of the reasons why your coaches and your mentors can believe so much in you, sometimes when you don't have that confidence to believe in yourself, is because you're the only person that's heard every lie that you've ever told. You live with yourself every day, so you're with yourself when you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, or you fall short of your expectation. But your coach has that bird's eye view and can see, I see something special inside of Gabe or Litzy or Belkis or Sheree. What, how can I help bring that out of them? How can I help them become better? So one thing I would also mention, Bill Britt talks about this a bunch, is building your self-image up, building that confidence up. And the best way you can do it is by just being a person of your word. Like if you can't do something, just say you can't do it. Even if it's, you know, like none of us are your boss, so we're never going to say you're fired, but, obviously be just a person of your word. Like if you can't make a meeting, just shoot your coach a text. Hey, something came up, family related. It'll make you feel good versus if you ghost, then it's kind of like I don't want to reach out to them because I didn't make that last meeting. Or, if you say that you're going to do something like creating customers or talking to customers, one, always focus your goals around stuff that you can control. So actions you can take. So, eventually shoot for those goals like, diamond, platinum, and stuff, which take other people. But when you're new in business, set goals around stuff that you can do yourself. Like, okay, my goal is to build my network. So, what can you control about building your network? A good example is like what Shirai was saying. Okay, well, I can message people on LinkedIn, 5 people a day, Monday through Friday, or 20 people a day, whatever your goal is. That's something that you can control. And when you do what you say you're going to do, it builds confidence in yourself, or I'm going to be at the meeting on time, or, whatever it might be. But building that around yourself, I think is building that confidence in yourself, I think is huge, because that's going to allow you to just be better. Bill Britt has a great talk called Self-Image and Attitude. Highly recommend listening to that. He kind of goes into more detail. If you also want to look up Vern, Vern by Kumar, that also talks about positive programming. Shad Helmstetter, the book, as well as the talks, if anybody can put them in the chat. I know he has a couple of talks on BWW. He talks about what Janae said, how to talk to yourself positively. Those are some things, again, Litzy, you can probably think about this as a runner. You talk to yourself as you're running, I'm sure. You're like pushing yourself. When you get tired, you have to push through that barrier. So it's the same thing in business. So we've all done it in different areas of our life, but it's how can you take those skills and apply it here is that magic sauce of becoming successful. So those are the biggest things, as well as just continuing to develop your why. I mean, we're going to jump into our training, but I thank you guys for sharing that, because I think that was definitely a good mindset. But again, another thing I'll mention before jumping in is, like I was just saying, is your why. Like, what are you in this business for? Like I kind of mentioned, I know Kavita mentioned those 3 C's. I think your why should center around something that has connection in your life, contribution, and compensation. Because if you're missing any one of those 3 things, you're not going to feel fulfilled in life. Like, for example, a lot of people say they want to pursue their passion in life. You know, their passion could be something that connects them with people and feels like they're contributing tremendously to the world. But if it doesn't make them any money, you can't physically do that with all of your time, because you need to live. You have to pay your bills and do what you have to do. So you might have a big passion for it, but it might not be something that you can sustain yourself off of. Or it might make you a lot of money, but it's not good for society, i.e., like I was talking about, being a drug dealer. I'm sure nobody in this call is a drug dealer, but that's a perfect example of, it makes you potentially a lot of money, but you're not contributing well. You're not connecting, I'm sure, with people because you don't want people to get close to you. Or again, you put those into your same framework. I guarantee you that, again, I was listening to a podcast that was really interesting where it talked about, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling anxious in life, it's probably because one of those 3 things is missing, and if you can identify that, again, it builds your confidence because you feel good, you want to be around other people. So think about your why. It might just start off with making a little bit of money, but try to see how this business can fit into those 3 categories for you. I know for us, obviously, we're connecting with people right now. When we get to meet, our team, like Maddie, Belkis, Nana, Andrew, Derek, all of them in person, and some of our other partners, it feels good to be adding value to them, seeing them grow. Like I know Maddie just got really good news about getting her full-time offer, which is exciting. And I know Belkis even got got her full-time job recently. So like seeing people grow outside of business is also very good, because I know that we've played maybe a small role. Obviously we didn't apply for the job or help you get the job, but I'm sure BWW helped you in some way, shape, or form, develop that mindset, and maybe even I'm just going off the cuff here right now, but I'll have Maddie, if you could just share, because I know you were talking a little bit about it yesterday with Arti, if you could just share a little bit, like, how is BWW, because I know you got started in business, you got a full-time job, you just got promoted to salary. So like, how have you felt BWW kind of help you outside of business? Obviously, you're growing your business, you just launched your first partner. Side of business, like with your job and your life, how has BWW played a role for you? You know.
Yeah, I would say just well, a little bit of background. So I did major in communications, and the job that I'm currently pursuing, it's a lot of I would say more event planning, but it's a lot of office visits. So it's for a contracting company, but a lot of it is internal networking. And so it's a lot of face-to-face communication. And so I actually first started the position when I got, and obviously, like John just said, enrolled in business. And so just kind of having that on the side and being able to like learn more about myself and self-growth has been able to like help me more gain that kind of confidence to be able to network with different different people in different offices. So yeah, I would say without BWW, I don't think I would be in the position that I am now. I don't think that I would have that kind of confidence to be able to network with a bunch of strangers, like just in the company of a nationwide company. So
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you for sharing that. And I think that's a powerful testimony. And I'm sure each and every one of you guys, I could bring all of you guys up, but would have some sort of, testimony as to how this business has impacted you personally. Obviously your goal is to make money, but that's another thing I would say too, is I feel like when this business really started working for me personally, before I even met Janae, was when I started to realize that I could use these skills in my personal life. My job could get better, my family life could get better, I could help other people. So those are some ways to kind of increase your confidence, because you realize that you're growing as an individual. Again, it could have to do with business or it could not, but that's another way to just, you want to level up in life, every single, season that you're in. Let's jump in. We're going to keep this training pretty short. We want to keep it power packed and kind of answer some of those other questions that you guys were talking about, dropping the message and developing customers. But the first thing I want to talk about before we jump into that is, let me share my first slide and share my screen. If you guys can give me a thumbs up when you see this. Let me not share the sound so you guys can hear me. Perfect. Are you guys seeing this? Okay, sweet, sweet. So another topic that I'll say that for me personally has really built my confidence is realizing that there's certain truths in life, and that if I can align my life with the principles that operate, that I can create something for myself. Because I think we can all agree, probably wandering through life, maybe not understanding how to make money, how things work in business. So one thing that I realized, Devang and Artie's training at Pace really got me thinking about Rich Dad Poor Dad. And when I read this book and I heard other speakers talk about it, I realized that the main theme of this book is that there's different mindsets about how money, what's the purpose of money for different types of people. And what I've realized is that for the poor mindset, and I want you guys to think personally about yourselves when I go through this, but then also think about other people in your immediate sphere of influence. Because the more you're aware of other people, it'll give you ideas of who to talk to about business or who to talk to about customers. So I want you to first self-evaluate and then, evaluate the people around you. But poor mindset, the purpose of money is to pay bills. The purpose of money is to pay bills, meaning that anytime money comes into your bank account from your job, potentially from this business, you're immediately thinking, who do I have to pay? Who do I have to give this money to? It's never, it never comes to you. You're never able to save or invest it for the future. And again, depending on your situation, what you're doing, that might just be the reality. But I would submit to you that if you can change your mindset, at least, you might still be, obviously you have to pay your bills, but if you can change your mindset about what the purpose of your money is, you can go from having, like, I know for me, from being a broke 22-year-old, $50,000 in debt, I changed my mindset from broke mentality, which my whole life was learning from my family and the educational system, to a wealthy mindset. Even though my bank account didn't align with that at that moment, now it's starting to. So if you change your mindset first, your compensation is going to be a lagging measure of that effort of the mindset that you have. So poor mentality means that the purpose of money is to pay bills. Middle class is the purpose of money is to build credit so that you can buy things that you can't afford. I have a bunch of family members who are like this, where they want to pay their bills on time so that they can have a $700, $800 credit score, which is good. But then what do they do with that money? They go and they get a whole bunch of credit cards. They don't pay it all off. They go on vacations that they can't afford to impress people that they don't even care about, to post it on social media. And then they look at it and it's like, you look back at your life. I've seen so many interviews on YouTube and stuff like that. Because outside of BWW, I like to study other successful things. But I love to study like those, if you've ever, what's it called? Like those deathbed regrets or stuff like that. Like when you interview people in nursing homes. And the biggest thing that they always talk about is, I wish I was true to myself. I wish I were to do something that I wanted to do with my life. And I feel like the middle class, that's a lot of my family that I've seen them go on that track, is they do things because they think it's going to impress other people, and then they spend all of their time and money trying to, look good for other people and stuff like that. But wealthy people, as you can see, the primary purpose of money is to make more money. And I really truly believe that if you can adopt this mindset and mentality, it'll completely change your life. Even if you're making, Devang and Arti talked about it on Sunday, you could be making $30,000 a year, but if you know how to manage the money that you're living on, live below your means, you can be wealthier than the person who's making $100,000 a year. Because it's not about how much money you make, but it's about how much money you can keep every single month. Now, you do want to increase your income, obviously, but when that money comes in, how is that money allocated? I don't have time. I'm not a financial advisor to show you what you should do. But I would encourage you, look into that stuff. Because again, what's really going to help you, I feel like, for a lot of you guys with your confidence, with your consistency in business, is when you realize that this is a business vehicle that can make every dollar you make turn into more money. What's an example of that? Well, like we talked about, there's two types of products in the world that for you right now. There's products that are going to pay you, and there's products that are not going to pay you. Before business, all you had was products that weren't going to pay you unless you owned a convenience store, which I'm sure most people don't. But right now, every time money comes into your bank account, you now have a choice when you spend that money. Am I going to spend my money on something that can make me more money, i.e., my business, my products that I have access to? Go through your bathroom tonight after you hop off this call. What toothpaste do you have in your bathroom? What face wash do you have? Again, and if you're brand new in business and you haven't yet gotten a chance to try all of them, again, give yourself some grace. But these are things that you want to think. This was what helped me personally the most, was I realized that I made a decision that every dollar that leaves my hand, I want to figure out how it can make me more money. And I remember saying this years ago before I even saw somebody explain this concept to me, was I want to learn how every dollar that I make can make me more money. You could be a student and you not have much time, but you're going to spend money anyway. It might only be $200 a month, but think about it. That $200 is going to somebody. It might as well have at least some of it to come back to you. Now, we don't have groceries and, fruits and vegetables in our business, but we do have other types of products. So that was kind of the mindset. I remember Kanti Gala said in one of his talks, he stopped eating potato chips and, snacks from the store, and he started buying all of his own products. His kids, sometimes they would want, this was before Amway had popcorn, those popcorn bags and stuff like that. And he said, no, we're going to eat the protein bars, we're going to eat the Nutrilite bars, because that's what's paying them. Even before he had thousands of people in his team. And now, for many of you guys, Kanti and Lata have one of the biggest businesses in Amway. Now he can buy whatever products he wants. But he first focused on how can his money make him more money. So that's something I would definitely recommend to all of you guys, is to adopt that mindset of how your money and your time can make you more money. So I think there's two steps as we go through these last couple of slides. There's two steps on how you can go from where you're at now to adopting that rich mindset. Practical steps that you can start taking today. So the first step is reducing your expenses and decluttering your life. So what's an example of that? Well, number one, just like we talked about, eating out putting all of your money into, expensive dinners, going on dates, eating all these other types of food, that's an expense that I know for me as a single guy starting to build my business, I had to start to make that business decision to say, hey, I do have some money to spend on eating out, but I'm going to choose to put that money into something that's going to pay me. Now, Janae and I have budgeted ourselves to where we could eat out. We could eat out at great restaurants. We do sometimes, but not a whole lot. But because we made that sacrifice early on, we now have those some of those choices now. Another thing it might be is maybe going to the gym. I know for me, obviously you want to stay fit, reset 30, exercise. There's a lot of at-home workout programs. But for me, I stopped investing all of my time and all of my money into gym memberships and spending 2 or 3 hours a day going to the gym. Again, that's a personal decision. You don't have to do that. But I realized that I only have a finite amount of time. I had to declutter my life. I couldn't spend 2 hours a day at the gym just to have a six pack to go work in a cubicle. I always wondered that about, like, when you go to the gym, you see those guys that are jacked. And I'm just like, what are they like? And you see them like working at Verizon, and it's like, nothing, no shade on Verizon, but it's like, why are you, there's no point. You know what I mean? It's just like, as long as I'm not, obese and, I'm good, and I'm healthy, I don't need to be a bodybuilder, if that makes sense. So, that might be something for some of you guys, where it's like, how can I put a little bit more of my time in my business? Again, within reason. A big one is social media. I know you did this detox recently, right? You got off social media for a little bit. What were your thoughts on it?
Most of this, actually, especially in the beginning of my business, because I was actually working part-time when I started my business as a single woman. So single ladies, I understand where you guys are. But yeah, and this ties into kind of the time management as well, because a lot of things are pulling at are pulling at our focus. Like, social media, just any little thing that we can see on our phone that we can scroll. TikTok now. For me, it was Instagram and Facebook and things like that. But just cutting out those distractions and kind of prioritizing your business will set you kind of farther than people who are just sitting there scrolling and not, just wasting their day away. And this is something that, John and a lot of all of my upline basically kind of instilled in me was that, instead of scrolling all day, mindlessly, how about you use your social media to maybe make some connections with people, or, use that time to listen to some audios, or use that time to read a book or things like that, so that you are actually putting some time into your business, like doing just a little bit every day, rather than, just, wasting your day away. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing I'll mention that it brought me back to, I know Litzy mentioned it. A lot of you guys mentioned, Gabe, also managing your time. Your free time kind of fluctuates here and there.
Yeah.
One thing that I've realized, and this goes for any business, busy people get things done. So the fact that you have a lot going on in your life is a factor of you're productive. Yeah. If you didn't have anything going on in your life, obviously you probably wouldn't have that ambition level. So clearly you have goals and stuff that you're shooting for. So what you want to do, just like Janae said, is don't focus so much on the limited time that you have, the limited, amount of time that you have, but what can you fit into your current schedule?
Exactly.
I remember I was talking, I think, with Ramadan earlier today, just before this call, was look at how you can build this business into your lifestyle. I know even Nana, we were talking about this yesterday. When you're working out, maybe pop in a podcast instead of music. When you're, again, buying products, buy your own products instead of other people's products. So even though your free time might be limited, or you might have a lack of time management or things like that, how can you start to, like Janae said, maybe you find yourself scrolling a lot. I'm going to be honest, I scroll a lot, but can you be a little bit productive? Yeah. Maybe set a goal of, when you catch yourself scrolling, okay, let me connect with 5 people, or hey, let me hop on the BWW app and watch one BWW TV. So it's like, it's not like you have to set aside 2 hours a day to build your business. That's difficult. Yeah. But if you can work the business into your life, it becomes a part of your daily habits. And I love this quote, and I would write this down for those of you guys taking notes, is that the rich mindset is you focus on intention and ignore distraction. What most people do is they overwhelm themselves with distractions in their life, because they don't want to focus on the reality of their situation. They know that they can work out. They know that they could make more money. They know that there's opportunities out there, but they're just not willing to put the distractions aside to move forward. So, like I said, busy people, you probably already have that muscle. If you're going to be a cross country runner, let's see, you can't go out and party every weekend. You know what I mean? So you already understand that there's certain things you have to prioritize. Again, it's just a matter of, okay, if I take a step back, what does that mean in my business? Because this is different. You don't have to work out in order to grow your business, but can I, when I'm walking around listening, can I listen to a podcast? So it's those little types of things that help. And then the last one is kind of like we talked about with credit cards. Maybe it means if you're in a lot of debt, in a lot of credit card debt, it might mean cutting up the credit cards. It might mean, reducing those expenses that you have, and find those pockets in your budget. Again, we're not going to do Devang and Artie's talk all over again, but go through the budgeting sheet. What are some areas in your life where you're overspending that you could redirect some of that money into your own business?
Like for me as a girl, I cut out like getting my nails done and going to the hair salon, and you know what I mean? I went and I looked at the things that I can control, like just taking care of my beauty, just figuring out how to do it for myself. Or if you're a guy, like John doesn't go to the barber, he does it himself. I'm not saying that you have to learn how to be a barber, but if that's going to save you some money, why not? There's plenty of videos on YouTube. So
I couldn't imagine. Side note, I couldn't imagine. Like, I remember the last time I went to the barber shop, I had to wait like 2 hours to get my hair cut. Like some of you guys, now I think people do appointments and stuff. So I don't know about it right now, but I just remember I would sit in the barber shop so mad because I'm just like, I got stuff to do. I have the places to be. And I was just like, I'm going to figure out. I was bad at cutting my hair in the beginning, but now I've kind of learned. So you don't have to do it. But that was definitely one thing, just to get that off of my chest. I could not stand the barbershop because it was just like, in meaningless conversations, we'll keep going. But yeah, so that's some ways. The second step that I would say is now learn how to increase your income. So like we said, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. But once you get to a point to where you're living below your means, you know what to do, how can you start stacking? How can you start making more money? Again, because like we said, money is a tool. If you make more money, you can give more to your church. You can give more to your charity. You can help a family member out who's maybe struggling. So money can be used for certain things. But again, you first have to figure out your own household and your own finances before you can go and help other people. So increase your income. So what are 3 things that you can do specifically in this business to increase your income? The first thing I would recommend is get a business building job. So the way that this was explained to me, and this was, I know for a lot of partners on the team, I remember Devang and Artie helped me with this. The first job I had was a shift, like part-time, $20 an hour. I was working for like a landscaping company, and it was kind of shift work. It was all over the place. Some days I'd be working 9 to 5. Other days I'd be like it was a snow removal company. So like if there was a big snowstorm coming in, I had to come in at the evening times. So it interfered a lot with my evenings and weekends. And you want to try to, again, do your best, depending on your industry, to find a job that keeps your evenings and weekends free, because that's the time that you'll use to build the business. Now, things have changed a lot because of Zoom and virtual stuff. You can do a lot more in different pockets of your time using Zoom. But generally speaking, you want a job that's 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, because all of the events that we have are going to be in the evenings or they're going to be on the weekends. It's never going to be during the week or anything like that because most people are working at that time. So try to align yourself with that. And then you want it to pay you enough to live comfortably, but also fund your business. So this comes into play, again, living below your means, going through your budgeting sheet. Again, you might not be the best at math and numbers, but you got to have a general understanding of how much money do I need to live my life? What can I cut back on? Because you got to be able to fund your business. Like Devang and Artie were mentioning, for all of you guys that are first year IBOs, everything's free for right now. But come January 1st, you're going to have to start investing into your business. So I would recommend start putting these line items like a $75, $99 per month to your BWW subscription. Start putting that aside now. The conferences and things like that. So have something. So that kind of gives you a gauge of, you can't accept a job that's going to pay you below what you need to survive because you can't pay your bills. So that gives you something to shoot for when you're looking for a job. So I'm not going to go too much more into detail, but that's that. Um, Another one, obviously, is building your volume, personal use and customer use. Again, you want to start to think differently. How can my money make money for me? Anytime you buy your own product and anytime you buy a sample, you're investing in your business. Remember, we were at the BBS with Tony Rodriguez in Miami. He said, don't ever say that you're spending money in your business. You're investing money because it gives you a different feeling. If you say I'm spending money on my products this month, it feels like you're not expecting that money to come back to you. But if you say I'm investing into my products this month, you subconsciously are looking for a return on that investment. So you want to be very careful on what you say, like what you say when you talk to yourself. So those dollars that you're spending are investments into your future, and those samples that you develop, like Belkis, like you asked about having that motivation for your customers, investing in those samples, helping them, finding out what the need and what they want to do. Those will be really good ways to get them motivated. Because once somebody finds a product that they love, like I know your mom loves the skincare, game over. She's going to buy whatever you recommend her. You can have her talk to your other family members and they're going to get excited about it. So those are some key ways. Obviously, you can sit down with your uplines for specifics and your situation and stuff like that. But your volume is an easy way. If you end up, I know there's multiple examples of people in business. Like I know Vishal and Sonika, Charlie and Anderso. There was times in their business when they lost their job early on and they used Amway products to fund their life. Charlie sold a bunch of eSprings when he lost his job for a couple of months to make money so that then when he got his job again, he could go back to obviously living normally. So if you find yourself in that situation, maybe as a student or you're in a spot where you need more money, this business is about making money. Obviously we want to build a team and build a network, but if you can sell some products, make $200, $300, $400 a week, if you put your effort into it, what's to say, like, why wouldn't you do that? That's I think something that, again, just something to think about. And the last one is obviously building your network, personally launching people into the business. And then you want to start to help the downline that you bring in, you want to help them start to grow their business. So first you do your own personal with, and then you start helping those people that you bring on. So you got to have enough people so that you can work with. Again, a great talk just came out by Phil and Luna Lee about width and depth. So I would encourage you to listen to that. But is there anything you want to talk about on? I know you've kind of gone through this when you sort of had to find a business building job or something about volume. If you want to talk about it.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. Like I said in the beginning, when I first started in business, I had a part-time job, so I didn't have a business building job. I was working nights and weekends and things like that. But after I kind of assessed, you kind of my skills and kind of what I graduated with and my experience and all of the things, I was able to find a job that would help me build my business in the evenings and weekends, and then as well as building volume and building my network, like I mentioned before, just started to take away the distractions, started listening to my upline. I did, grand openings and demos and things like that for customers and for, family members so that they can see the value of the products. And I was able to get sales that way. Building networks, I talked to everybody that I knew. I was just ready to grow. And so if you have that mindset, like you're just ready, like you want to grow, you want to see something happening in your business and start seeing the dollar bills, so you have to listen to your upline, your coaches, and do what they say, because they're not just doing it or helping you or letting you know what it is going to help you to grow just because like John said, we're people before profits, so we want to help you, they want to help you, but of course if you do what they say, you're going to get the return. You're going to see something happen, something moving. So that's exactly what I did. I just did what I was supposed to, and I saw the results, and then that increased my confidence and my belief in myself and my business. Like, hey, like, okay, I talked to these people and some of them were interested, and now I'm sitting them in front of my coach, and now I have a team, and now I'm 1,000 PV, and like it's gonna be like so much momentum happening after putting some effort in. That you're going to get so excited to continue. So yeah,
absolutely. And that goes back towards the self-confidence and self-belief that you guys mentioned. But just doing what you not only are told by your coach, but also the stuff that you listen to in the podcast. When you physically see yourself being able to talk to a customer, sell a product, talk to a potential business partner, get them to sit down for an MG1, it makes you feel good because you're like, wow, this works. I remember Rich DeVos, the owner of Amway, he said, if you can sell one product and launch one person, you can go diamond in business. Because all you got to do is just keep doing those two activities. Keep selling products to people and keep finding people who want to launch in business. And eventually some of those people are gonna grow and are gonna move forward.
And finally, I just wanted to say Amway Education is also a great resource to tell you, what are the steps on how to create a business or how to build a business and make money.
Yeah, just absolutely. Absolutely. And because I probably won't touch on this topic for the rest of it, I want to answer Sharai's question, Sharai, about dropping the message on LinkedIn. So obviously I won't go into all the details, but again, talk to Parmesan Bharti about how they're doing it and what you can do. There's a lot of different strategies. There's a couple of videos on the Jane Drive as well as on BSM Extreme. But the biggest thing that I would say, again, it's more of a mindset. I don't want to give you scripts, but for me, this is how I think. There's two ways to have conversations, in person or online. One is you can be direct. You can talk to them right outright. I got an opportunity. Let's sit down and let's talk. I'm going to be honest, for me, that's how I operate on LinkedIn, just to be transparent. I'm right out of the gates. That's kind of what I've talked with Vishal about and works for me. For some people, they go more of the second route, which is conversation. Hey, it's nice connecting with you. I like some stuff on your profile. Again, different people have different temperaments, but those are the two routes that you can go: direct or conversational. So you figure out where works best for you. It might be different on different platforms. Like for me, I also message people on Facebook a little bit. That's much more of a conversational platform. I don't be very direct because those are more social contacts. If I'm talking to somebody in person, similar. I'm not going to just shoot out the gate with I got a business opportunity, because it's a little bit weird. But for LinkedIn, some people they're looking for it. That's how I got launched. I got a big long message, blah, 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 blah. You want to make some extra money? I said yes. So again, that I just wanted to answer that question. Talk with Parmesan Bharti. They can probably help you script up messages and stuff, but it's really just whatever you feel. If you can make it make sense in your head, it's going to work, because there's some people that are meant to get in your business that aren't going to get in my business because they like Sheree, or they like Maddie, like that message that you have, they can connect with you. I could send the exact same message to the same people you send it to. Some will respond, some won't. And some for you will respond and some won't. That's happened many times. There's many people I've talked to that have been approached by other people and they were just like, hey, I just connected with your profile. And I'm sure the same has happened the other way. I just obviously never got to talk to those people. but so that's just one tip. Just wanted to mention that. Those are the two ways of going about it. So again, there's a lot more podcasts and stuff that you can learn about, but whatever makes the most sense for you. I love the quote that Kumar says about building your network. We're not trying to launch people to the moon. You're just trying to launch somebody in business. So we don't need to overcomplicate it. We don't need to have some special way of doing it. It's just, hey, if they're interested, great. You can do it, whatever works the best for you in your upline. So as we kind of finish off, I want to kind of wrap this thing up is, again, for those IBOs that are serious, you want to start to move forward. What we were talking about kind of with that rich mindset and kind of how can you make money work for you is you want to start to get yourself with the reducing your expenses, increasing your income, building your business. You want to get to the point in your business where you can start comfortably and consistently honoring the partnership every single month without having to think about it. When I was new in business, this was a little bit challenging. I didn't have the money or the customers to do 150 to 300 PV right out of the gate. It took me maybe a couple of weeks to do that with the help of my parents and some other customers. But you want to get to that point again where you have enough budget aside to saying, okay, I can affordably spend or invest $200 into my business every month, $300. As you move up in your job and income wise, you can spend more. But you want to comfortably get to the point too. Again, if you're taking notes, want to screenshot this, highly recommend. You want to get to the point to where these are month after month. It's like the heartbeat of your business. 150 PV, 300 PV. It's happening month after month after month. You plus your customers, happening towards the beginning of the month, preferably using Ditto. And big thing, because I'm going to go into this next, VCS, because there's going to be a way that you guys can earn an extra $1,000 next year by having the proper structure. Again, the BWW subscription, for now, it's complimentary for those who are new. But again, start putting that money aside because it's not going to be free forever, obviously. Attending the meetings, you guys are already doing that, huddling with your coach. And the last one I wanted to throw in there is, again, that networking piece, so doing some MG1s. So you want to get to that point to where these are kind of every day, every week, every month, it's just kind of happening in your business. That'll also build your confidence when you can confidently say, okay, I can move my business forward. I know I can do these things to grow my business. So just something to keep in mind. That's the goal that you want to get to, is all of this stuff is within your control. So getting to that point to where these things are, without even a thought in your mind, you wake up on the first of the month, your PV is done. That if you send out X number of messages or talk to X number of people, you're going to have people to talk to. Then it creates a lot of confidence because I can build my business and I'm confident that I can get the results. Some months might be good, some months might not be so good, but that you're doing what you need to do. So this is definitely a big one for those of you guys that are new. And then the last thing I want to touch on, or the second to last thing, is I don't know for how many of you guys were there at the meeting last Wednesday when I think it was Balaji and Priya. There's a new program that Amway is launching that anybody on this call can make an extra $1,000 next year in your business by simply doing the things that you're already doing. So there's two ways that you can do this. The first way to make an extra $1,000 in your business next year is, number one, is what they call the Start Strong incentive. Now, I think this might just be for people who launch next year, or it's for people who are less than a certain PV. So the details will come out, but basically what this Start Strong incentive is that if you do 150 personal PV, so what does that mean? You plus customers can do 150 PV. So that's about $450, $500 of business every single month. And you report at least 60% VCS. Personally, our standard is 80% because we want to be above and beyond, because there's certain qualifications that you can earn, but at least 60% VCS. All of this you can check on your business dashboard on Amway. So I'd recommend doing that after this meeting just to see where it is. If you do this volume with this PV for 12 straight months, so by doing something that you can do anyway, Amway is going to pay you an extra $1,000 over the course of the year. So how is this going to work? So let's say you start the year at September and you do this, month after month after month. If you do this for 3 months in a row, September, October, November, I think that's the months, you're going to get $100 in addition to the bonus that you're already earning. If you maintain this for 6 months, so you do it another 3 months, to November, December, January, February, you're going to get a $300 bonus over and above what you're already making. So let's say by that time you're 1,000 PV and you're making $500, $600 a month, or $400 or $500 a month. Imagine getting an extra $300 boost that month. You could potentially make almost $1,000 at 1,000 PV or 1,500 PV. So huge income. And then if you maintain it for a whole year, they're going to give you another $600 bonus at that time. So this is stuff I wish I got launched when you guys got launched, because if I could have made an extra $1,000 by just doing what I was going to do anyway, I would definitely have taken that money. So big thing, get that point to where 150 PD is a heartbeat of your business. If you're struggling with that a little bit, talk with your coach, but remember, it's personal PV. So you plus your customers, obviously your downline won't count towards that personal PV. Your group PV might be above that, but your personal PV has to be over 150 PV and maintaining that. So get that going now, but keep that as a heartbeat. A second way that you can do this is through the Bronze Foundation Incentive. So they're revamping BFI next year so that as you qualify BFI, not only are you going to earn an extra 30% bonus on top of your original bonus, but as you maintain it for 12 months in a row, you're going to be able to earn those same performance bonuses. So an extra $100 after 3 months, an extra $300 after 6 months, and obviously an extra $600. So it totals up to $1,000. So that's the beauty of Amway, is that every year it gets better and better and better. So you can never say, oh, I wish I got in this business back in the 1980s, because this money wasn't there then. BFI is new. This Start Strong incentive is new. So they're always looking for ways to add money into your pocket for those who are willing to perform. So I'd encourage, the PowerPoint is going to come out to you soon on how to qualify for these stuff. I kind of explained it, but you can read it a little bit more on your own time. But just make this a habit. You don't have to think too much about how I'm going to do this, and that. Just make 150 PV your habit, and make having MG1s a habit. If you do that, you're going to earn this $1,000 and you're going to earn this $1,000. So you can earn an extra $2,000 in your first year or two in business just by doing these things. So I'm super excited about this. I know we probably won't qualify for it, but I can't wait to help new partners in our team qualify for it.
Yep.
Because I know that it's going to make them excited and they're going to want to grow their business. So lastly, what I want to finish off with is a challenge, because I love finishing these trainings with a challenge to each and every one of you guys on this call, especially the newer partners, but even those who are looking to grow, is two-part challenge. The first one I would say is start to commit yourself starting tomorrow to a 30-day core run, or tonight, or July 1st, whatever you want to do. Commit yourself to a 30-day core run. And you might be asking, what is a core run? Core run, I think of a core run as three things, because there's only three things we do in business. One is volume, the other is networking, and the other is education. So for me, what I say is I'm going to do something towards my volume every day, preferably using or selling a product. But if I can't get that done, I at least want to share a product website link with one customer that day. Even if I just like, hey, cousin, check out this product. Obviously that's not what you want to do every day, but it gets you in the habit of sharing the products with other people. Eventually, somebody's going to buy the product. So something related to volume every day, something related to networking every day. That could be LinkedIn, like Shirai was mentioning. That could be calling somebody. Maybe you haven't gone through your A and B list yet. Talking to your friends, your family members. Again, do it the proper way, but make a commitment. Can you every day carve out 5-10 minutes to message somebody or to have a conversation about your business? Even if you're the busiest person in the world, let's say you run a whole cross-country event and you have a final coming up that day. I'm sure you could find 5 minutes to send out a message on Instagram. Even on your busiest day, you could do one thing in terms of networking. And the last thing is education. Listening to a podcast. This meeting can be considered your education. Anything where you're learning about developing your business or your mindset. If you can commit to doing those three things consistently. So I know several of you guys mentioned consistency is something you want to work on. So, I don't really have any other tips other than you just got to plan it out and do it. But again, consistency is a muscle. If you use it, it'll grow. If you don't use it, it won't grow.
Yeah.
So get yourself in that habit. Can you do those three things every day and be accountable with your upline? Talk to somebody in your upline who you can send a message to every day and say, hey, this is what I did today. I did this for my business, this for my business. I know that's when my business really grew, is when I made that commitment. But
yeah, when your upline is in in the know, when they know what you're doing each day, they're expecting to see that core run come in, or to see what you're doing. So when you send those messages out and letting them know what you did for the day, it's like, okay, I'm going to send it again tomorrow because I'm going to stay accountable. And that kind of builds that consistency. Like John was saying, it is a muscle. You're going to continue to build that muscle every single day. And then after a while, it's going to become a habit. It's going to become a part of your lifestyle. And it's not going to be something that you have to think about. It's going to be something that, just happens because you've been doing it for so long. So yeah, and it's going to build your confidence because you're going to be more accountable to yourself and to your upline. And yeah, you're just going to see the magic work.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And I would say, we'll talk about the one new leg, but I would say doing a 30-day core run, almost every single thing that you guys mentioned, being consistent, motivation, customers, time management, dropping the message, all of those things, you can overcome those with practice. So consistency, if you practice being consistent, you can overcome your lack of consistency. If you constantly, again, if you make a commitment, every single day I'm going to listen to a podcast, you're going to get motivated. You're going to be inspired. Ask your coach, hey, this is what I'm going through in this season of my life. what are the best podcasts I can listen to? One thing I can say for everybody, go on a Bill Britt diet. Go to BWW TV, get as many Bill Britt talks as you can. Those will definitely motivate you. The confidence, again, all of those things. I think a 30-day core run will, I don't want to say these are problems, but they'll help you overcome a lot of those things that you were asking about. And then even for the DTMs on LinkedIn, if you do it every day, you learn by practice. Yeah. None of you guys knew how to tie your shoes when you were born. None of you guys knew how to walk when you were born, but through practice, you learned how to do it. So selling products is the same way. Building your business is the exact same way. But you just got to make a commitment to just do it consistently. Because without that consistent commitment, it's going to be tough. So a 30-day core run is like a good short term. You don't have to commit for the rest of your life, but can you for 1 month do stuff every day? A lot of you guys are students, so you're on summer break. Perfect month to get consistent. Once you get back to school, you'll have to maybe recommit to that consistency. But at least for now, imagine where your mindset's going to be in the next couple of months if you do that. And the last one, like we shared, was get one new leg to summer conference. I know West Coast Summer Conference is coming up in a month from now, July 26th, I believe. East Coast, we got August 9th, 10th, and 11th in Baltimore, Maryland. So commit to it. The conference is complimentary for new partners. So if you're new, not only will you get a complimentary ticket, but can you bring somebody with you? Imagine if you've already been to a conference or any type of association, you already know the impact that can have on somebody. So again, that's the whole motto of our business, is to use the money to love the people. Us as business owners, we're paying $200 to attend these conferences, but we're willing to front that cost for you as new people and anybody that you want to bring, because we know that it can change their lives if they allow it to. So we're willing to make that investment into you to let you have that first year free, and anybody that you bring on. So use that to your advantage. If you can bring more people for free, why not? Obviously they got to figure out how to get there and stay in Baltimore for a couple of nights. But think about the impact that you can have on somebody's life just by inviting them. If you talk to any one of the platinums or emeralds, I bet you they would tell you that conference that they went to was worth $1 million. And you get it. I mean, they only, it was only 100, $200 for them, but for free, I mean, that's unheard of. So with that, that's all I really wanted to share. I know it was a little bit long, kind of all over the place, because we just had you guys sharing, but I hope we added some values. I hope we got to answer some of your questions and things that you were thinking about. So like we said, just make that commitment. 30 straight days of just doing something for your business every day, and be in that communication with your coach. And I guarantee you're going to look back at the end of July and be like, man, I'm more confident. I believe more. And your business has probably grown a little bit as well. So with that, we're going to kick it back over to Kavita to wrap up the meeting. So
thank you to our upline, Devang and Arti, Vishal, Sanika, for just allowing us to, just share with the team. And, we're just really grateful. We don't take it lightly.
Yes, absolutely.
And awesome hosting, Kavita.
Yes. And enjoy the 4th of July. All right. Over to you, Kavita.
Thank you so much. So much. It was wonderful, powerful,